the German invasion codenamed Barbarossa, which took place on June 22, 1941. This invasion involved an attack by over 3.5 million German and Axis troops along a vast 800-mile front. Approximately 148 divisions, making up 80% of the German army, were deployed for this campaign. The vanguard consisted of 17 panzer divisions, organized into 4 panzer groups, with around 3,400 tanks, supported by 2,700 Luftwaffe aircraft. This invasion force was the largest ever assembled. The German forces were divided into 3 army groups, each with its own specific objectives. Army Group North aimed to march through the Baltic states of Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia to capture Leningrad. Army Group South planned to launch an offensive on Kiev and the Donbas industrial sector in Ukraine. Army Group Center's goal was to take Minsk, Smolensk, and ultimately Moscow itself. Hitler anticipated completing all these objectives within approximately 10 weeks. The German forces initially experienced success, with panzer divisions rapidly advancing toward their objectives while Russian forces faced chaos and disintegration. Army Group North advanced on Leningrad, with Panzer Group 4 leading the way. Russian forces in this sector were scattered, allowing the panzers to cover a distance of 500 miles, 804 kilometers, in 3 weeks. By mid-July, they were just 60 miles away from their objective. Army Group Center also made swift progress. By June 28th, General Heinz Guderian's Panzer Group 2 and General Hermann Hoth's Panzer Group 3 had encircled 3 Russian armies in the Bialystok-Minsk pockets and captured around 320,000 soldiers. Army Group South, under Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt, encountered fierce Soviet opposition in their assault, as this was where the majority of the Russian armor was stationed. Panzer Group 1 faced Soviet flanking attacks while heading towards Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, and a key area for the coal-rich Donets Basin. On August 8th, the Germans surrounded 2 Soviet armies, capturing 100,000 troops in the Uman pocket and reaching the Dnieper River. The Black Sea naval port of Odessa was also besieged. While the German forces initially seemed to be progressing well, Soviet resistance stiffened, and supply issues began to affect Army Group Center. Hitler decided to halt the assault on Moscow and reinforce Army Groups North and South, much to the disagreement of the German generals, who believed Moscow should be the primary target. Hitler aimed to deprive the Soviets of their resources and factories. Despite protests from the German High Command, Hitler issued an order on August 21, 1941, prioritizing the capture of Crimea and the Donets Basin. Panzer Group 3 was sent north to support the push on Leningrad, while Guderian's tanks were dispatched to assist Army Group South in capturing Kiev. The encirclement of Kiev in 1941 was a devastating battle. German forces, led by General Heinz Guderian, launched a relentless assault from the northeast, tearing through enemy lines with their powerful panzers. Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt orchestrated a simultaneous attack from the south, leaving no room for the enemy to escape. Weeks of fierce combat followed as the Germans tightened their grip, encircling the city with their steel-clad divisions. The skies were ablaze with aerial bombardments, and the Soviet forces fought valiantly, but were overwhelmed by the relentless German war machine. Kiev became a cauldron of despair as the encirclement closed in. The Soviet command requested a withdrawal, but it was already too late. The panzer armies surged forward, crushing all in their path. The 1st Panzer Group, like a thunderous avalanche, crossed the Dnieper River on September 12th, advancing north to slice through the southwestern front's rear defenses. Meanwhile, Guderian's 2nd Panzer Group prowled from the opposite direction, closing in on the unsuspecting enemy forces. On September 16th, the thunderous clash echoed at Lokhvitsa, just 190 kilometers east of Kiev. General Guderian, the Soviet commander, felt the grip of doom tighten as his armies stood surrounded. Kiev, the symbol of resistance, teetered on the edge of destruction. The battle for survival began. A deafening symphony of destruction ensued as artillery shells screamed through the sky, tanks rolled with insatiable hunger, and planes strafed and bombed mercilessly. The earth trembled beneath the intensity of the battle. On September 19th, Kiev fell, but the encirclement battle continued. Trapped Soviet troops fought with unwavering courage for 10 agonizing days, knowing their lives and nation's honor hung in the balance. Despite their resistance, the encirclement tightened. On September 26th, battered and exhausted, the remaining Soviet troops east of Kiev surrendered, their defiance fading into haunting silence. The German forces claimed a staggering prize, boasting the capture of 600,000 Red Army soldiers. Yet, amidst the sea of captives, a glimmer of hope emerged. A small band of brave souls evaded capture, only 15,000 troops tasting freedom. The clash of two mighty armies shook the Eastern Front to its core. The Germans, nearly 500,000 strong, faced off against over 700,000 Soviet soldiers. The cost of victory would be measured in blood. The Germans fought with ruthless efficiency, losing only 45,000 men. The Soviets, however, suffered devastating losses. Over 600,000 soldiers perished or fell into enemy hands, leaving a trail of sorrow. An additional 84,000 were left sick or injured, their bodies broken. The capture of Kiev took a heavy toll on the Red Army. Their resources depleted, and in disarray, recovery seemed a distant dream. The German war machine left destruction in its wake, demolishing over 400 tanks, 343 planes, and countless guns and mortars. General Guderian's strategic decision to turn south paved the path to triumph. The scattered Soviet forces could not mount a cohesive defense. The battle unfolded as a symphony of German victory, echoing through the ravaged land. Joseph Goebbels celebrated the Battle of Kiev as a resounding success, validating Hitler's Eastern Front strategy. Yet Stalin's stubbornness and dismissal of experienced generals unwittingly aided Germany's triumph. With Kiev secured, the German forces eyed Moscow with hunger. However, time became their greatest foe. The march toward the capital was delayed, and winter's icy grip awaited. German commanders pondered what might have been if they had acted sooner, believing Moscow could have fallen before the frost took hold. The Battle of Kiev, a seismic clash, carried weighty consequences. Its echoes shaped the course of history. In its wake, one wonders how different the world could have been if Moscow had been their unwavering priority. And so, we reach the end of this captivating journey through history. We hope that this video has shed light on the dramatic events that unfolded during the Battle of Kiev. Before we conclude, we want to express our deepest gratitude to you, our cherished viewers, for joining us on this exploration of the past. Your support and enthusiasm fuel our passion for sharing knowledge and stories of our history. We are also incredibly grateful to our Patreon supporters, whose generous contributions make it possible for us to create and share content like this. Remember to check our recent videos. All of our links are down below. See you guys soon.